Well, hey there, it's Elka.
And Jen, and welcome to another episode of the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast. And today we are talking about the benefits of starting an online business. And starting an online business can be super beneficial to you. Elka and I started our own online businesses 14 years ago, and it has changed our lives. We are extremely happy and excited to share our stories with you, as well as why the starting an online business is extremely beneficial to you and possibly even friends or family members in the future within your space and realm. So we're going to talk about everything that's super important about that in this podcast episode.
It's one of my favorite topics because, as Jen said, oh my gosh, it changed our lives. And before that, we both didn't think that this was even an opportunity to make money, right? We thought we had to work for someone else in order to get more money. Like get a better job, get a higher paying job, learn more or get another degree or something. And we forgot that now, especially in this digital age where everything's online, we forgot that like we could just start our own business. Now, obviously there's various degrees of how to start your own business, right? Do you do everything from scratch? Do you hop onto a platform that's already established and you work within their system? Those kinds of things we can discuss as we go through the podcast. But the first thing we really want to talk to you about and have you like we want you to stay for the whole podcast because we want you to get into the belief that it's possible for you. All right, by giving you some of the benefits. And so just stick with us for this whole podcast because we want to share with you not just just stats and whatever, it's good for you because of this. We want to talk about our own personal journey and that personal journey of our students that have been because we do teaching and teach people how to make money online with an online business, but we want to really understand and have you understand what's holding you back from trying this as an opportunity. And so by giving you some benefits, we're hoping that you're going to be swayed to just at least check it out and see whether that's possible for you. Okay?
Well, I love that you brought in our student success stories and also their perspectives as well, because we actually just got off a coaching call for the Profit by Design Academy coaching program, and we were talking about mindset and money blocks. And a lot of students had mentioned in that call that they didn't know that creating an online business was possible just because of the way that they had been influenced with either their parents or growing up or the people that they've surrounded themselves with, where everybody just sort of followed the mold of everything. Either you get a 9-to-5 job, or you, as Elka said, you get a raise, or you're trying to find a new job, but you're always working for someone else. And a lot of our students had to get over that hurdle of thinking that they weren't actually able to do it on their own because no one ever told them that it was possible, and they never ever thought that it would be possible.
So that they could be their own boss or their own, as an entrepreneur, right? Those are scary things. Yeah. And because that's what happens when you create an online business, you become an entrepreneur.
And you actually have to hold yourself accountable too. So I think that's part of the fear, is that we actually are now responsible for something because we're not getting a paycheck from someone else. We're actually making decisions that affect our own livelihood and our future success, right? And although creating an online business might be scary in your mind, it is super beneficial, and it is extremely flexible and gives you so many amazing benefits that will actually better your life as long as you get over some of those hurdles of thinking that it's not possible for you.
The main message is that the positive outweighs the negative aspects of doing this. And so, so we want to get into some of these. And we're just going to free flow talk about some of the benefits and give you some stories. And hopefully by the end of this episode, you'll feel a little bit more comfortable saying hey, maybe I could do this.
So the first point that we have is starting an online business can be extremely inexpensive. A lot of people think when they hear start a business, they think that they have to put in a lot of investments. You have to buy a lot of equipment. Maybe you have to buy a rental space or rent out an office, etc. And you have to hire a staff or team or buy, computer equipment, X, Y, and Z.
And or take out a loan even for some of them, or use your savings and
Because usually when you say start a business, people think brick and mortar, like they need to have a physical space and sell physical inventory. But in this digital age, having an online business has eliminated a lot of those obstacles and a lot of those expenses, because you can just have your stuff online. And especially with the platform that we use, which is called Zazzle, it's print on demand, which means that the physical inventory actually doesn't exist until the customer buys it. So in terms of our business being extremely inexpensive, we have no upfront costs. It's extremely, as I said, inexpensive or even free at some points if you don't decide to buy graphics or own a website or whatever. But based on the platform that Zazzle provides you, you can start and open an online business for free, and you don't have to have any expenses.
Exactly. Yes. And it's like business in the box, right? You basically just hop onto this platform. It's all free. You don't have to worry about like listing fees or anything. And so it really is no expenses other than whatever it is you're using to work on, like the computer and the software that you're using and your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and I think that that's one of the reasons that we chose Zazzle in the first place, because some of the other businesses that we were looking at, because one of the reasons, like, and you're going to probably get into this later, but like I wanted to have independence in so many ways, right? I wanted not a ceiling for my earnings, and also I wanted to work from wherever and whenever. And so that's why you want an online business, right? Because it's kind of set up online and people can come to it whenever they want to, and you don't have to physically interact with people in order for you to generate the cash. And so I think that's one of the pieces of the puzzle. Like those were the criteria, and then we wanted something that was passive, right? And so, but we also looked at so many other opportunities before we settled on the Zazzle platform, and realized that those other opportunities required so much more cash investment, and we didn't actually want to invest that much money to start with, because we weren't willing to take that risk of that investment in case it didn't work out, right? And so why not go with something where it's working and there's low investment costs, or little?
Yes, no, definitely. And especially nowadays when there are so many other expenses that are happening in the world too, you obviously want to make a side hustle or start a side hustle, and you don't want to invest a lot of money to get money out of it, right? So that's why being on the digital space or creating an online business is extremely beneficial, especially now.
Yeah. Now, obviously, when we were working on that business, we had to invest in some training to learn how to run a business, but that's besides the point. But the platform itself, like, and there's all kinds of other online platforms that require you to make an investment or pay a monthly fee or something like that, and or have a certain quota, and so when you don't meet that quota, you can't continue to sell on that online space or something like that. So check out the thing that fits for you, and that's the most important. Is it has to fit your current situation and what you want to do in the future. But for the most part, at least it's not like a big like brick and mortar investment, right? Or you're not buying a franchise of some sort of Starbucks or something like that. And so it's so great compared to other options that you can use to generate create a business.
Well, tying that in terms of it being inexpensive, it's fine in terms of the cost, but then there's also low risk, right? You're not investing a lot of money with high risk. You're actually either investing zero or very little money with very low risk. So if it doesn't turn out or it doesn't work the way that you want it to be, you don't have to stress over the fact that you've invested all of this money. So that's extremely important as well to understand.
Sleep at night.
Yes. So the second point that we have is that you have the flexibility of time, and you can be your own boss, which means that you can work whenever you want, you can set your own hours, and also you can make your own decisions. So you're not listening to somebody on top of you telling you that you have to work a certain amount of hours, or that you have to be in the office from 9 to 5, or that you can't get weekends off, or that you have to book your dentist appointment on a Sunday, which everybody hates to do because you don't have the time freedom, right? But being your own boss and having your own online business, that means that you're able to now make the executive decisions on when you want to work and when you don't want to work.
Yes. Obviously, you still have to work.
Yes.
But you can be more flexible as to when you get that work done. And that was huge when I first started on Zazzle. Jennifer obviously was a lot younger, and I have more kids. I have twin boys. And so having 3 kids at home and them going to school and soccer practices and, whatever else had to be done, and volunteering at school, those things meant a lot to me, and also to have the time with my kids when they were growing up, to be there after school for them, or pick them up. Jen liked getting picked up at lunch, having lunch at home, and then going back to school. That was her thing, right? And it's like, I can do that, and it meant so much to her and such value, whereas I was still working at my business. I didn't have to spend 2 hours in rush hour, or hurry home at the end of the day because the babysitter was, her clock had ended, and now literally that happened. Someone put the kids on the doorstep after the time was over. It's like, that's it, last time, you're my babysitter. And so I think it's not okay to sacrifice so much if those things are of value to you. So for me, that was so important. My kids had a really great upbringing, and that I was there for them. But I didn't want to sacrifice my career, and I didn't want to sacrifice me accomplishing something, because I think that also sends a message to my kids. I think it did, that, I also am of value, and that I can contribute, and that I can do something other than just taking care of kids, right? And also then later, obviously, with everyone being grown up now, I still have my corporation, my business on this online business on the Zazzle platform, and so it's my corporation. I own that. I'm the boss, and it's a great feeling to know that a lot of people, and I feel for you, because that's what I struggled with when I was taking care of the kids. It's like, well, what happens when they grow up, right? And where am I then? Do I just start again at the beginning? So in the meantime, I was always working and making money, but never enough to sacrifice my time with the kids. And so that was really fun, that when they were older and they didn't need me as much anymore, I still had my business. And I think that's something that you might resonate with.
Yeah, and that really resonates a lot with some of our students as well, where some are, mothers, and they have children that they have to look after who maybe have special disabilities, or even, taking care of elderly family members in your family. I know that for myself and my mother, a couple years ago, we had to take off a time period to look after my grandmother because she had her hip replaced. And so having that flexibility of the time, and, being able to designate when you're able to work and when you need to take time off to spend time with family members or friends, or just enjoy life doing what you're doing, you're able to do that without having to ask permission from anybody, or to be responsible for any other thing besides your own business. Right?
And the key part, and this is again something we just talked about with our coaching students, is that the idea here is that your business, because of the training that we give, and the how to set up your business and your online business properly, and it's creating a passive income for you, then ultimately, if it's set up properly, you can leave the business anytime, in terms of physically not working on it, but it's still working for you. And so that model works really well on the Zazzle platform. Sometimes you create an online business and you still need to be there actively.
Yeah.
For a period of time, at least consistently. Whereas here, we could just we had to take 2 months off, and we had very little internet because where she lives, it wasn't the greatest internet. And so we just had to take that time off. But because we have our business running properly, it didn't matter. It was still generating the revenue. We handled anything that maybe came along in terms of a change we had to make or something, but it wasn't a consistent thing that you had to be doing something every single day in order for it to continue to work.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important when you're deciding on what business you do end up doing as an online business, is something where you can actually step away from it and it's still working for you and generating the cash you want.
That's actually one of our major points here, and one of the benefits is that the business runs 24/7 basically. So if you set up your business properly, and you have a platform that you're using that is consistently running while you're not physically on the computer, let's say, then the business will always be running for you 24/7, 7 7 days a week. And when Elke and I first started out on the platform Zazzle, which we use as our online business platform, it seemed so unfathomable or even like out of our reach to make money, quote unquote, while we were sleeping, let's say, or while we were on vacation or something. It was so foreign to us because we had always been under the impression that you need to work to earn the money during that time period, right? So hours worked equals dollars earned. And now with this online business opportunity, whether that be with Zazzle, like what we've used, or with any other business opportunity online, you can literally be making money while you're sleeping, while you're on vacation, while you're, be spending time with family or loved ones. And so that concept needs to be understood by a lot more people because it's still very foreign to a huge group of people. Even some of our students who have been with us for a couple of years now struggle with the fact that they feel like they need to physically be on the computer so that they are earning money online. And we're talking about the coaching call that we just had, but so many points came up during that coaching call that are very relevant to this podcast topic. One of our students said to us she was finally able to feel relaxed, where she was able to go for a walk and not have to worry about being on the computer working, and the money still came in, even though she was spending time, with either her husband or just by herself on the beach, having a really nice relaxing morning and not physically working. She came home, checked her earnings, and she still made money. And so for you to listen to this and actually, see that possibly happening within your life is a very, very important, because a lot of us don't realize that that's even a possibility, until we see the proof, right? Yeah. And so we're here to tell you that it is possible. Obviously, we cannot make any income claim statements, and you do have to put in the work to get that money output. But if you set up your business properly, whether that be on Zazzle or any other online e-commerce or online space, you're able to potentially make money while you're not physically on the computer. And it's just running for you 24/7. And that's an amazing feeling that you can just kind of step away and say, I've got it all sorted and things will be good and the money's still going to be coming in whether or not I'm physically working on the computer or not.
And the other part of that 24/7 is that when we work like in a physical business, there's hours, right? And physically you can't interact with someone to ask for that exchange of money. Mm-hmm. Whereas now, like that's why stores now are open 24/7, because they realize there's a lot more earning potential, because there's a whole other group of people that shop outside of certain business hours. And that's why they, you now have 24/7 gas stations, 24/7 this and that. And it's because there's more earning potential. Mm-hmm. And since this online business that we are involved with, the Zazzle business, it's a retail business. And so people want to buy something. So they may not be able to buy during the 9 to 5 because they're working and they're not supposed to be on their phone buying something. And so when they want to buy later, they would have had to go to a physical store, and if it's not open, they couldn't buy. So I think that the sales potential is there as well.
Well, it also
not just the flexibility for us as people who are running the business.
The sales potential for people who don't want to buy in those conventional hours, but then also opens it up to international customers.
Exactly. Well. Yeah, it's like this is an international company, so all of a sudden you're selling all over the world anytime, not just on business hours, which is fun. It's really fun because it gives you more chances of sales.
Mm-hmm. No, it opens up a whole world, literally, of possibilities for you to make sales to potential customers.
Yeah.
So the next point that we have is that you have the freedom of choosing your own location. And so that kind of ties in with everything that we've been saying in terms of freedoms. But basically, you're able to work wherever you are, let's say, connected to an internet, or where you have the power source for your computer or wherever. But you can literally be working on your phone if you have that potential, right, and that possibility. So wherever you want to work, as long as you're physically capable of working in terms of your connection, then you can work wherever you want. We've been working, like nowadays, well, because of COVID, we haven't flown in a while, but previously, before COVID hit, we were literally working on the airplane because they had Wi-Fi. And so we rented out the Wi-Fi on the airplane. And while we were going to one of our vacation destinations, we were working because we had a time slot where we could work. We were working at like a mile high in the sky.
Yeah. Or, if when we're traveling and we're doing one of our location masterminds, we were able to still run our business for the Zazzle business, because now our second business is to teach people how to make this business work on Zazzle. And so it's limitless in terms of the potential as to when you stop having to physically be in one spot, it takes away so many things. First of all, it takes away all the struggle to get there, like, long commutes and whatnot, and also allows you to work in an environment that actually suits your productivity. So that, like, that's something that always really bothered me, is because I'm not, like, I don't like a lot of crowds and people. So when I had to work in a cubicle with a ton, like 30 other people in this big open space, I heard every other conversation, and it was really hard for me to focus.
Yeah.
Whereas now I can find the ideal working space for me, and then I can be extremely productive in a very short time period. And so, so that's a huge thing. It's not just always about, being on the beach and which we've done. We've had our computers next to the pool, and we were like, let's check our earnings, or let's make a product and post it for sale. The other thing is that what I love about this is it means that the opportunity is for everyone, right? It doesn't matter whether you're in like one part of the world or not. Everyone, anywhere, all over the world who has internet and the computer or a phone or whatever, a tablet, can do this, which is awesome. Right.
Well, and then also tying it in with COVID and all of the uncertainty that happened within the last couple of, let's say, years and then months too, is that a lot of people have lost their jobs, or they weren't physically able to go into work because of health and safety issues.
Yeah.
And so if you are now able to create an online business and not have those restrictions on the fact that either you are physically not able to go into work and that your paycheck is getting hit, or that you've lost your job because, let's say the place where you worked at your 9-to-5 job has literally shut down production or shut down during that time period, then you're at risk of not getting a paycheck, right? But here, as an online business owner, you're able to work physically wherever, whether that even just be at home, in your safe and comfort of your own house. You are able to create an online business and still have that earning potential. And I know that this has hit hard with a lot of people during these past couple of months and even this past year, where a lot of people have lost their jobs or been their hours have been cut short, or they are they have mental issues now, or traumatic issues because they have had the stress of having the fear of going into work and potentially getting sick, or being on the front line and working with people who are sick, right? And it's just, there's so many things that have happened in the last couple of months that have changed our perspective on how we view working physically in an actual space. And so having an online business and giving you that location freedom, I said on the beach, right? And, the luxurious travel, but it's also being in your own house, or even, as Elka said, in a space that makes you feel comfortable and you don't have to be surrounded by a lot of people, hearing all the different conversations and being distracted.
Yeah, you can be more productive, and you can be in a location of your choice rather than a location of someone else's saying that you have to be there in order to make money. And I think that's the beauty of it, is that we've, as all of this has happened with COVID over the last couple of months, it's really shown us that, first of all, as long as we have internet, then there's barriers are just dropped, and then the necessity of a lot of people's productivity, it's not dependent on them being in a location in order for them to be productive and to still run a business. And I think that's something that has to be, you have to get your head around it, right? That, because we used to think at home means you can go watch TV for as long as you want, or you can forget about working out together. You just it's just, you go have fun, because your home is not work. Whereas now you can balance that and have your home be your place of work, as well as your place of whatever relaxation and where you're living. But the key here is that work can be in a location other than a physical place where your salary is you're working on your salary, which is interesting because I don't know where I'm going with this point really, but it's just so mind-blowing because when everyone else was having issues with going to work when COVID first hit, nothing changed for Jen and I, and I almost felt guilty but I shouldn't, because we had chosen wisely as to what online business we were going to make or have, and also that we chose an online business, right? Rather than choosing to work somewhere where it was I have to be in this physical location to make money. And I think, so even though I felt a little bit guilty because there were so many other people were struggling, I also just kind of patted myself on the back and go like, I made a really good decision a long time ago when we first started generating this business, because even back then it seemed like it was a weird thing. Like, why would you do an online business? Why wouldn't you go to work and get paid, right? And so there's always like a resistance on our part when we are trying to work this out and create a business for ourselves. And you're still going to come across that even to this day, even though now it's much more accepted that people have an online business, that it's not just a scam. It's not just, it's going to, fly by night. Jen and I have proven everyone wrong in that we've been on the Zazzle platform for over 14 years, almost 15 years now, right? And we've been consistently earning money. So that's so different than what people think is a possibility for them. And so this is part of why we want you to think about the online business and realize there might be some, pushback, I guess is the word I'm looking for, when you start to say, okay, this is a cool thing for me. Everyone's going to go like, are you sure? Are you sure it's going to be okay? But like, especially during COVID, it really honed in that, yes, I made the right decision. Yes, because of my online business, I was not as impacted and Jen wasn't as impacted. Sure, we have to stay home, but we were working from home, and our income didn't go down. It actually went up because of what we were offering as our online business, and we're serving customers who needed to shop online. And so cool, right? Like, so many ticks of the boxes going like, that's what we initially looked for in a business, and now it's paying off. And so think about that when you're deciding whether you want to be an online entrepreneur.
And the last point here is kind of ties into what Elka just said in terms of our income going up during COVID, is that you have huge income and growth potential because you're on the online space, you have an international community that you can reach, you have literally no limits as long as you put in the power or the work and have the manpower to keep going, or women power to keep going, and make those strategic action steps and implement them into your business. But you have such potential, and there's no real cap off, like Elka mentioned at the beginning, when you say, well, you're in this job at a 9-to-5 job and you have a cap off on your salary, and no matter how much more training or how much more whatever, you have to wait until somebody retires so that you can move up to the corporate ladder, or you have to get you have to get a raise, or you have to do this, or get a new job position and get a higher amount of money. That doesn't exist within the online space, because it's just more so whatever potential you have with your business and how you take those strategic action steps and implement them, it can result in potential income growth at an exponential rate, even if you wanted it.
Again, we can't make any income claim statements, so make sure you really understand that. But you know what? It allowed us to believe that we have potential, right? As Jen said, like, it's not, oh, I can start this business and then I can only get to this part like high level, because that's literally what the last person who did my performance review in my day job said to me, and it's like, that's nuts. So like, I did a lot of schooling. I was in a job, like, it was very fortunate, obviously, as I did a lot of schooling, did graduate work, but then in this corporation that I was working at, which was really supposed to be like a top-notch corporation, I got mentioned in Forbes as one of the top 5 companies that is, the future to work with and to be part of. And it was also very forward-thinking for, working at home and all kinds of stuff. And there's my boss telling me, nope, unless you get like a doctor degree, like an MD now, you're not going to make any more money than this. You've already hit the ceiling. So this is the most you can make in this company, unless you become a medical doctor rather than a PhD, which is what I have as a degree. And I was just floored. I was like, what? I'm 20, whatever I was. And it's like, I've already been told that this is all I can do for life. I was like, that really hit me. And the online business, there is no limit. There's no cap to that if you, as Jen said, do the work and you take that potential and you just keep growing with it, because it's up to you, right? And I hope that resonates with people, because I don't want it to sound like off-putting, because some people go like, well, you know, you should have been happy with someone's salary at that point. But like, I had spent 11 years in school, so I had a lot of catching up to do. 11 years of people earning while I was like getting more and more into debt. And so I had to catch up. And so when someone said, hey, I had to, you know, I was capped at this and I just had to keep working for years and years, and that's all I could ever make. Wow, that's not an incentive.
Yeah. No, I know.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't want it to sound off-putting, because like maybe you can't relate to that, but it doesn't matter where you are in your schooling or what job you have. If a boss says, you know, good, you did a fabulous job this year, but we're going to just, we have to only have, you know, basic raises because our company's losing money or trying to restructure, and, you know, the whole bit about people, the normal things you get from a corporation that's really big, where they're trying to keep their raises to a minimum, then you're going to get like a slap in the face, because most of the time it's not even enough for an extra pizza every week, right? In terms of the increase in your salary. Whereas if you are an online business owner, you can decide what to put into place as to how much your business will make, right? There's always the risk that it won't make that money, but the most important thing is there is no cap. And it's wonderful to know that, because it means that if I want to, I can make it work even more.
So I'm pretty sure you've heard all of these amazing benefits, and at least one of them has resonated with you in terms of creating an online business and being your own boss, because we've covered a lot of really amazing points. We said that, you know, it can be extremely inexpensive. There's low risk. You have the flexibility of time and being your own boss. You have the freedom of choosing your own location. You have income growth potential. Your business is open 24/7, 7 days a week. You have an international market that you can reach, and also you have full creative freedom, or full freedom to do whatever you want with your business, as long as you obviously make the right strategic action steps and you put those things into place to make your business work. But at least one of them has definitely resonated with you, or even all of them, especially during this digital age where so many people are moving towards the online space. So thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode where we told you all the benefits of owning your own online business, and we will see you in the next episode of the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast. Bye.
Bye.